Good morning, good morning, good morning. And guys, welcome to another fabulous episode of Exit Strategies Radio Show. I'm your host, Cohen J. Millett, broker and owner of Exit Realty, Low Country Group, yes, in beautiful North Charleston, South Carolina. If this is your first time listening to this show, you, sir, ma'am, are in for a treat. Our mission here is very simple. That is to empower our community through financial literacy and real estate education, guys. That is what we do. We have been off the meter. I am so excited about what we've been doing over the last several weeks with the show, the guests that we've been bringing on, top notch, superb caliber. I'm talking about, quote unquote, as the old folks say from long time ago, the cat's meow. That is what we have been doing. Today is no different. We're going to delve into another world on financial literacy and investing. So I want you all to get ready. I want y'all to load up on the mothership because we're about to go on a fantastic voyage. That's what we're going to do around here today. I'm very humbled and honored to have with me as a guest on this show. Chad, how you doing today, my man?
I'm doing great. Appreciate you having me on.
You're quite welcome. I appreciate you making time in your busy schedule to be a part of the show today. I'm going to jump straight into it because we got to talk about some stuff that I look at and I am unsure of. You're going to be preaching, quote unquote, not to the choir today. You're going to be preaching to somebody that you're trying to get delivered. So, Chad, tell us, if you could, high level, what it is you do and a little bit about your company.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, so what we do specifically is basically what everyone else doesn't do in cryptocurrency. What everyone else does in this world of crypto is treat it like a slot machine, like a casino, right? They come at this world emotionally. They're looking at it for a get-rich-quick lottery ticket. Me and my people, we treat it like a business. Unemotional systems, strategies, proven processes, and navigate it as it should be. Simple enough.
So for our listeners who may be completely unfamiliar, crypto, let's talk about what is it?
Yeah, absolutely. So crypto in general is a slang term for cryptocurrency. All cryptocurrency is the type of currency that is encrypted over what we call the blockchain. Now, if you're going to go grab a Starbucks coffee, take out your credit card, swipe it on the terminal, that transaction gets validated across a multitude of channels to say, hey, this charge from Starbucks merchant A is going to bank B to C, etc. And we're going to validate and encrypt that transaction over the air. And so essentially the blockchain offers a very, very similar type of service. However, all of the data is public, right? We can see it all. And blockchain is constantly evolving, but it essentially ingests that technology, giving us an opportunity to take the financial transaction system out of a traditional banking institution.
That is interesting. Let's talk about the evolution of cryptocurrency. I mean, hype, a lot of publicity, some good, some bad over the last several years as people have been kind of trying to work to understand. And I think probably during, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, but I think probably during the COVID outbreak is when there was a significant increase in interest in cryptocurrency because, in my opinion, and correct me if I'm wrong, but people kind of started to look and say, wait a minute, the world's economy is going to change drastically and we need a different or separate economy, if that makes any sense. Is that correct?
Oh, 100%. There's really two components there. One being exactly what you said. Simply people had way more time on their hands than they ever had in the past, right? And so people get bored. And oftentimes when people get bored, they'll either go in one of two pathways, a destructive pathway or try to create a productive pathway. During that time, people were seeing others make millions in crypto and they wanted in on action. They had extra time. And then obviously government stimulus checks and the economy being inflated with new money, M1 money supply, it was just the perfect storm for the crypto market in general.
During that time period, well, I believe I saw a significant increase in types of crypto. Because I don't think, and I'm going to liken it this way. In the US, we have the dollar, there's a yen in China, there's a euro in Europe, there's a different currency for most countries or all current countries, but there is an exchange. I liken what I saw happen in crypto to that, where there are different currencies that came out by different companies and or individuals, however that looks. And please, let's unpack that and kind of dig in there. But I saw
Yeah.
these various currencies that took place. Now, is there an exchange or something that takes place or can take place? Like you can go take the dollar to China and get a certain number of yen, to the US and get a certain number of dollars. Does it work the same way?
Yeah, it does. And each one of these different cryptocurrencies is going to have a different price allocation in that exchange rate. And that price is set by speculation, right? There's really not any governing body regulating this stuff, at least right now, at the time of this recording, right? And so with that being said, these prices are just allocated based on our pure speculation. Whoever is willing to pay X or Y for that currency over and over, and we extrapolate that out, that's what's dictating the price. Every cryptocurrency is going to be a little bit different. Every price allocation is going to be a little bit different. And ultimately, that's really what makes this stuff so volatile.
Interesting. Let's talk risk. Chad, real talk. I think you may mention, kind of touched on this a little earlier. There's so many quote unquote get rich quick schemes and people just kind of delving into things. I'm trying to instantaneously become wealthy or make $1 million. Let's talk about, in real frank conversation, the pros and the cons here. I'll start with the pros on cryptocurrency. Let's talk about that. What does that look like?
Yeah, I think it's something, there's quite a few different pros, but for me, during the dot-com boom, I was still a kid. I'm 30 right now. Okay. So I was still a kid during the dot-com boom. It took till college where I learned about the dot-com boom. Right. And if anyone listening to this is completely unfamiliar with it, it was basically essentially when the internet became the internet. Saw all these dot-com companies go public for the first time and issue an IPO, initial public offering of an equity option into these companies. Wall Street was insane during this time. Insane evaluations, insane price hikes and volatility in these companies because the internet was so new. We didn't know how to value these companies on a cost basis like we do today. And so during that time, you could make a ton of money if you knew what you were doing. And if you knew it was the dot-com boom and knew to cash out your profits and not hold on too long. But ultimately what ended up happening is a lot of these dot-com boom companies went insolvent. A lot of them failed. A lot of them went under. And I just remember learning about this, thinking to myself, man, if only I knew the dot-com boom was the dot-com boom, if only I knew and only I was capable to take advantage of it. And so essentially, once I started seeing cryptocurrency, I'm like, the history repeats itself. This feels like another dot-com boom. And so ultimately, the way I view cryptocurrency as a model, as in really a process, the most important foundation and cornerstone of my success with this is simply risk management. I don't care if you're buying real estate, building a business, it does not matter what you're doing. If you cannot analyze your risk allocation into anything, the likelihood of your success is very, very low, right? Because the emotions that are going to overtake, the fear of missing out, the greed, the excitement, all of these things cloud your judgment, and you don't have something to fall back to mitigate your risk on the back end, right? And so we take that part very, very seriously. And the reason why that's so important and really passionate to me is because during that era, that COVID era, when people were in this mass social craze around crypto, man, you had people taking HELOCs on their home equity line of credit on their house and buying Bitcoin with it, right? You have people taking these crazy risks to try and change their life overnight. Right? So we're really passionate about that because we literally do the exact opposite. We use very, very strict risk management with what we do, very, very sound, proven strategies. And it's a system. It's not luck, right? So that's ultimately like really a foundational piece of this for me.
You just described, I'm gonna call it this period, as a mirror of the .com boom.
100%.
That is interesting. During that time period, some people bet it all, and some people walked away winners, and some people walked away losers. So I'm gonna take you on the other side of the coin. And congregation, preacher. That's
Yep.
you. So what are the risks for people in getting into cryptocurrency?
Tons of them. Tons of them. Truthfully, you can go to YouTube and go anywhere and nobody's going to really shoot it straight like I will. So please listen up to this. If you're watching this, there's not many people like me who make a full-time, healthy living in crypto and will tell you this. It's completely unregulated. It is the wild, wild west. So that's the environment. Unregulated, wild, wild west, this world economic marketplace. The whole world can evolve and take place in crypto. And so the reason why that is so important is because when we stack the earlyhood of cryptocurrency, right, it's still a very new thing. It's only been around about 10 years and it changes dramatically every single year. So when we stack how new it is to that environment, completely unregulated, and then extrapolate that out with the emotions that people have around cryptocurrency, it's the perfect storm for massive risk that people don't know how to mitigate, right? And so people find crypto in general as a very vulnerable and predatory industry and market. So you have endless scams that you have to navigate. This can look in a wide variety of things. This can be somebody messaging you on Facebook, hey, I have this cryptocurrency mining operation. Send me 10 grand. I'll set you up with this mining rig. Hey, I have this trading bot. I'll set you up with it. Hey, I have this. I have this. It can look like even a world-renowned cryptocurrency exchange like FTX going completely insolvent because they were taking massive risk with their customers' funds, right? And so the examples are endless, right? But point being, understanding that that's the dynamic in the world you're walking into, like truly, it is the valley and shadow of death, right? Because it is so predatory. And I personally feel like if you don't have that light to walk with you through that valley, the likelihood of you not being successful on the back end of it is extremely low. I personally feel as if the overwhelming majority of people who got into cryptocurrency over the last 3-4 years never made $1. In fact, they've lost. I would say at least 97% of people. The risks are, once you understand them and you know how to navigate them, if you have ever had to solve a Rubik's Cube, right? You have no idea what you're doing. It can be really daunting. But if you have a professional Rubik's Cube guy sitting right next to you telling you, hey, turn this, do this. It's kind of like that. If you got the information, you know how to avoid it, you can do really well. Best advice, like, don't go into this stuff blindly. My number one mission with all of this and just kind of sharing my message on platforms like yours is at least helping one person, helping as many people as I can not go down the wrong path in crypto. I've seen it break up marriages. I've seen it break up homes. I've seen people over leverage, over risk, do all these crazy things. I hold a lot of passion there, on the backside of things.
Do you want something more? I mean, more meaningful moments, opportunities, deeper relationships, and memorable experiences. Do you want to make a difference? If you said yes to any of that, a career in real estate could be the opportunity you're looking for. Guiding people through one of the most important decisions they ever make, the purchase or sale of their home, could be both rewarding and lucrative for you. Exit Realty's revolutionary compensation model, training, and technology provide you with the tools and resources you need to start and build your successful real estate career. Call Exit Realty Low Country Group today at 843-619-3005. That is 843-619-3005, or visit join.exitlowcountry.com and make your exit today. Chad, I appreciate that. I knew that you was going to, because in this show, we got to give it real. We're not going to paint a false picture or narrative. Again, look at this is my theme for the day, because again, congregation,
yeah,
preacher. So you ain't preach to the choir, because I don't know nothing about this other than the fact that, like you said, it's unregulated. There's a tremendous amount of risk in it. And someone like me, we're always asking the question, well, look, how do we know that it's safe? How do we do this? How do we do that? Now, one thing that I did pick up in that, what you're talking, crypto is not a short term, it is a long-term investment, because you got to stay with it to see the return. Is that fair to say?
That's exactly my methodology as well. Yeah. I think a lot of people want to come to crypto to make short, quick, easy, fast, big money. For me, we look at it a little bit differently. Like I said, we treat it like a business. And so with a business, the likelihood of you building your company to $10 million and having a multiplier on exit in a year isn't very high. Right? It's going to take time. It could take a decade, right? And so for me, and this is really anything in life, when I get rid of these finite timelines, I need to make, my first 10 grand in crypto in 60 days, right? I extrapolate my goals and everything else out and make it more infinite, right? And start thinking 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, right? So for me, I'm personally really vested in the sense of creating long-term wealth with crypto and sustainably doing as such.
I'm going to throw something in there because, as we talking about these numbers, so in that situation scenario you just spoke about making 10 grand in crypto in this time period, my question would be, is that 10 grand in dollars or is that 10 grand in crypto? Because those two things differ. Am I right?
Sure. Yeah. The asset itself is going to differ for sure, but the valuation stays the same in the sense that at that specific time period. So let's say, just take a trade, I made $10,000 worth of Bitcoin. That $10,000 worth of Bitcoin and sitting in Bitcoin can sell for $10,000 of US very quickly. It's extremely liquid. So I can literally place an order and it would fill. I can convert $10,000 worth of Bitcoin into $10,000 worth of US dollar, and it would fill in probably no more than 8 seconds flat.
We're talking about, because people do this with currency. People will exchange their dollars for, again, euros, say that the dollar falls against a euro. I'm going to switch that back or switch that the other direction, whichever way that is. I'm trying to get my head wrapped around that the right way. But I'm going to move this back and forth because as the currency, if you will, ebbs and flows, when I switch back, I'm actually making money. What I just heard you say is that is a similar game, is not the right, but strategy. Let's say strategy. That's a similar strategy with cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. And I know there's a number of other currencies out there. Basically, you're just kind of, okay, well, Bitcoin is down today against this currency or up today against this currency. So let me buy more of this currency because I'm expecting that currency is going to eventually be up against the next, or maybe up against Bitcoin in the future, which then will allow me to come back to Bitcoin. And each time I come by, I'm buying low. And when I sell, I'm selling high in comparison to what I'm trading to. So essentially, I'm gaining more equity, more money. I don't want to confuse our listeners with money and currency. So the currency we're gaining, and eventually we get to a place where this cryptocurrency, and we've amassed a lot of it, let's say against a dollar. Now I'm going to sell this out. I'm going to get me some dollars now. Let's talk about your company, Chad. What's the name of your company for our listeners? Yeah,
so our company is called Crypto Renegades. And what we do is help people understand our mental model of cryptocurrency. We really take the time and hold people's hands to not only show them everything that we've done. So I have a business partner, his name is Nico Mercurius. Between the two of us, we've been in this market for over 25 years in currencies in general. Quite a few different things on that front, but essentially, helping people not go down the wrong path and guiding them to a proper mental model with proper strategies, risk management, process, all that stuff.
That is Interesting, man. I'm over here computing, processing, as my son says, you
Yeah.
know, just processing this thing. Future show, I want to get you back in because I want to see what that looks like. Have you explain to our listeners, how you've walked someone from, if you will, entering into, the cryptocurrency world to all the way to Z. What does that look like? A matter of fact, let's not call it Z, because Z is the end of the alphabet. And the reality is that you still probably got them somewhere in the middle. You probably got them around M, hovering around M, just getting money. That's what you're probably doing right there on that M, because we got to get past the L, because we can't take no losses. So I want to kind of walk people through the pros, the cons, the risks, the pitfalls, if you will, kind of really break that down to our listeners, because Chad, you're doing something. And again, congregation, man, I don't know if I'm quite at altar call today, but we want people to get up and move forward on this, because this is a way to diversify a financial portfolio. Is that fair?
It is. Yeah, for sure. And everyone's life cycle and journey into crypto is a little bit different. Everyone's a little bit different. But I would say, again, the overwhelming majority of people who end up deciding, hey, I want to try this. I want to see what this is all about. I want to get into this. The overwhelming majority of them are ultimately going to get in because their brother-in-law bought some random token, or some guy on Facebook said, look at this new cryptocurrency project, or buy this, buy that. And they just ultimately end up just, okay, like, I'll try that. And they don't really actually have a strategy. They don't really understand what they're doing. They don't understand the market. They don't understand the dynamics. They don't have all of these tools, resources, and endless years of experience that somebody who does this professionally does, and has taken the school of hard knocks to get them. So ultimately, depending on which one of those paths people go down, then they'll start looking into all kinds of other platforms, meme tokens, NFTs, high yield staking platforms. Like, there's all these shiny objects and exciting new opportunities in crypto, right? But they don't really understand how to vet them. They don't understand how to find good ones. They don't understand how to mitigate their risk on the back end. They don't understand how to exit them profitably, right? So the list is endless. And so ultimately, what we do is help people skip taking those hard paths and really to give them our exact framework, mental model, all these things, so they don't have to go through the crap.
That's interesting. So I'm going to say this as I segue to begin to take us out today, because what you just described to me is what I do for real estate investors. They have no idea what they're doing. They're out here taking all this information, random places, don't know how to apply it, and they jump in without consulting and working with a professional that understands what they're doing. You can do it on your own. The vast majority of people that that just kind of randomly jumped in without professional assistance, without someone who understands crypto, and they just did it because somebody called and said, hey, you got to jump in on this thing, and they're dropping $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, into the crypto market, and they probably lost all that money, or the vast majority of it, 97%, is kind of what you said earlier. That's the same thing over here in the congregation, because I'm in the congregation. Behind me in the congregation. Crypto, that we over here shaking our head. Yeah, we know what you're talking about. So Chad, look here. We'll take that with you today, my man. That's probably going to resonate with you for a while. But Chad, if you don't mind, tell our listeners, how can they reach you? Your website, where can people kind of connect with you so they can learn more?
Yeah, for sure. The best way to connect with my group, Crypto Renegades, is through our Facebook group. So if you go to Facebook, type in Crypto Renegades, we'll pop up. That's really our community of people who think like us, act like us, breathe like us, sleep like us, execute like us in crypto, right? And so if you want quality information from guys who are actually successful doing this, that's where you'll find it. We go live once a week, every single week, the new training, a new framework, etc., to put the power in your hands. And it's a really powerful community, seeing people either, just simply not make a bad decision, or starting to do this full time alongside of us. Incredible living's doing it. Completely free resource. And again, if you have any amount of interest in crypto, even if you've just bought some Bitcoin 6 months ago or whatever, jump in there. Guarantee you'll get more value in that group than you will find anywhere else.
Good deal. Well, Chad, look, my man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you being on the show with us today. I thank you for taking time out of your schedule. I know that you're always on the move. You're around everywhere,
Yeah.
sharing the message, and developing and building this community. So I appreciate you and what you do.
I appreciate you, my friend.
My man, my friends, our listeners. Hey, look, this has been an awesome show. Y'all got a nugget. Y'all got several nuggets. And I need y'all to go back through. I need y'all to go to the website, Exit Strategies Radio Show. I need you to pull this episode. I need you to stay engaged and involved. And let's pick this thing apart. Let's unpack it. We're going to have Chad back in the future, but let's unpack this and see if this has a place in your financial home. Let's see what we pull out of this bag. Is there a place on the shelf in your financial home or your financial kitchen for cryptocurrency? And I want you to engage with Chad and the Crypto Renegades, and in turn, make sure that you learn something before you do something, okay, that you might not like or otherwise may regret. One final time for our listeners, hey, you know how I feel about you. You know what I say. So I'm going to put the two of those things together, and I'm going to say it to you this way. And that is that I love you. I love you. I love you. And we're going to see you guys out there in those streets.